Hey, listeners. Welcome to another edition of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm another one of your hosts, Zach.
I'm a host, Jeff.
And we're going to talk about some board games and board game related things.
Is that what this podcast is about?
That's what this podcast is about.
I didn't show up for this.
Show up for it? You're not physically here.
I'm physically I'm here. Mentally, I'm still wondering about the nightmares of work today. So, no. But beer helps everything.
Gotcha.
Zach, you're being suspiciously quiet.
Oh, yeah. I was just looking up something we talked about before, just before this started.
We talk about things before
We
this?
do.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
that's what professionals do, and
Yes.
we're not those.
Yeah. It's about
No.
fingers. So
Oh. So, Zach, is the thumb a finger? I'm assuming that's what you were looking up.
it is therefore more accurate to describe a thumb as one of 5 digits we have on each hand rather than a finger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard fingers called digits before,
Yes.
and 2 digits specifically thrown at you are peace among worlds.
Okay.
Indeed, they are.
Indeed.
Indeed.
All right. So, about those
Perfect
board
start.
games we were going to talk about.
I guess we got to start talking about board games.
Yeah,
Yes.
I guess so.
All right, so we, of course, did GenCon earlier this month, and we picked up a bunch of games.
Yep.
I got to play another one of my GenCon stash. We got to bust into Imperial Settlers, Megan and I.
So just a
Hey.
2-player?
Yeah, we just did the 2-player.
How many does it play to?
It plays to 4.
Okay.
It does 1 to 4.
Uh-huh.
And the 1 player is, we talked about this a little bit with player counts.
Yeah.
The 1 is kind of unique.
It's a solo variant.
Yeah, it's a solo variant. It has its own special bad guy deck that plays a little different. I was going to play it the other night, and I got it all set up, and then I went, I don't want to play, and I put it back. But as for the 2-player game, I really liked it. I was concerned when we first looked at it. Megan saw it and liked the art and had heard the name because it was the big hotness last year.
Mm-hmm.
Big hotness last year.
And so she was interested in it and asked me about it at GenCon this year. And I was like, I don't know. I remember hearing the name a lot. I don't know much about the mechanics. And we looked at it and said something about a card game. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about card games. Overall, I prefer board games to card games. I haven't gotten it out and played it, though. I really like it. Look like you want to say something, Zach.
No, this is completely different. So,
Okay.
Who sold it or who published it?
So Imperial Settlers is published by Portal Games, designed by Ignacy
Trevishek.
Sagan?
Trevishek, I think.
What?
Trevishek. I don't know. He's the
Trebuchet?
guy that made Robinson Crusoe.
Yes, he did.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
I like that game, which means I like that guy.
Yeah,
I've never
sure.
met that guy. Maybe he's a real jerk. I don't know.
He seems nice.
Yeah, he seems nice.
He seems nice. Follow him on Twitter.
Robinson
So-
Crusoe is a real jerk of a game.
It is. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't. He doesn't doubt that one bit. no.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's not up for dispute. I
What
think that was
what-
the intention.
What I love. Sorry to interrupt
Hijack.
you. Yeah.
Go for it.
But I think it was at the Dice Tower Con. He played the game with the Dice Tower crew to basically say if you guys lose, it's your fault because you're not going to get any rules wrong because he's there. You're not going to. Because apparently the first time they did it, and they were teaching somebody while doing it too, they kept getting, because I know.
Oh, yeah.
You can get so many rules wrong with that game.
Easily.
Yep.
Good rule of thumb for that game. If you are torn on a rule and there's a way that would hurt you and a way that would help you, go the way that would hurt you because that's the right rule.
Yeah, the first 4 times we played it, we're like, we're not sure if it does this. We'll do it this way. And then it's like, oh, no, it was the way that fucked you over. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
clearly.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. So the first couple playthroughs were, they seemed hard, but now looking back on them, it's like, oh, I miss those wonderful days.
When this game
Where
was
it's
less
like, oh, we
hard.
didn't have food? Okay. Well, one of us, yeah. Or we didn't have, it was a little rainy. Yeah, our guys are tough. They can take it. No, it's just everyone loses health. Everyone
Yeah.
loses health,
Or,
always.
you have to discard a wood or something.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have wood? Well, that's too
Sweet.
bad.
Yeah, nope, you lose a health.
Yeah, and you're all dead.
You pay for that wood out of your flesh.
Yes.
Oh,
pretty
you
much.
took an hour to set up this game? Well, you all died in 5 minutes.
Yep.
But anyway, we're not talking about Robinson Crusoe.
Yes,
although
we
we
are.
should at some point.
We should.
We're talking about Imperial Settlers. So we got it all set up, and I actually really enjoyed the way it played. We didn't initially, since it was our first playthrough, I didn't immediately jump onto the attacking the other person, which you
Your
can do in this
mistake.
one.
Should
So-
you have?
No, I
Okay.
still won
Okay.
by 1 point. But
And your last win.
yes, but the thing I liked about this one is, like it just said, you can attack people. So at times it would feel a little bit like playing a 2-player solitaire, kind of like some games like Race for the Galaxy and some others can get. But because it does have that, it's raising. You can raise your opponent's buildings and actually get things in return for it, which is pretty handy. So it has more player interaction. It also has a little bit of card drafting at the start. The other kind of nice thing is that when you pass in the game, it doesn't matter as much in a 2-player game, but like say you're playing a 4-player game and you get done with your turn and you pass, nobody else can then attack or raise or do anything to you once you've passed. Like you're effectively stepping out of that round, which is pretty sweet. So no, I liked it. I beat Megan at it by 1 point. As Jeff said, probably the only time I'll ever beat her at that game.
Yep.
Pretty much.
So I definitely want to play with 3 and 4 players to see how that affects conflict, because I think with 3 or 4 there's much more conflict going back and forth.
That makes sense.
It'll be interesting also because we played with the Romans and barbarians are the 2 of the 4. The other ones, the Japanese and the Egyptians, have a little bit more complex special rules with their civilizations.
So it's Romans, barbarians, Japanese, and
Egyptians. Yep.
Okay.
And they are all spreading their empires and competing for space, as the box says. Because
those Japanese and Romans butted heads.
Yeah, they did.
Ancient
Oh,
days,
yes, they
didn't
did.
So
Yeah.
isolationist until what, mid 1800s Japanese.
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting, like starting out. So to raise your opponents, one of the things you can produce are raise tokens. They're these little swords in the game. And you have to spend 2 to raise an opponent's card, or you can spend 1 to raise from your hand. The Romans start out getting 2. So they can pretty much raise immediately. Whereas the barbarians, they have to like build something to get another raise token before they can start raising things.
Okay.
Which surprises me because I feel like the barbarians would have been the ones that were good at tearing shit up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, barbarians historically were that barbaric.
Yeah.
As they were
Portrayed,
like the Gauls, and they're like, oh, that's just the Germans.
And I'm pretty sure the Romans, if they wanted something destroyed, it was going to get destroyed.
No, that's fair. They were very organized in their destruction, so maybe it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool, like, you have different resources in the game, and like so the barbarians were very wood heavy, whereas the Romans used a lot of stone.
Yeah.
And supposedly that carries over into the Egyptians and and Japanese. They use different interesting things and mechanics. So no, I definitely liked it. I want to play it some more. I feel like I could explain it pretty quick if we were to bust it out and play it. So I think I might still bring that one to game night a couple times.
How long do you think it'll take for 3 to 4 people?
3 to 4 people. Well, so it's a hard 5 rounds, and you play predominantly simultaneous.
Okay.
There's a lot of simultaneous play, so I don't think it would change it much to go to 3 to 4. But I would say 2 hours on the outside, like on the far end with rule explanation. Okay. I would feel like it would be dragging on if it took over 2 hours.
Gotcha.
So that's what I played. I played a bunch of other games, but that was the main new one. I'm slowly moving through my GenCon stack.
So very slowly.
Yeah.
Inch by inch.
I'm actually done with it because I played Celestia and I played Mystic Vale.
Yeah. So you really only had 3 games.
Yeah.
Celestia looks cool.
It's a fun
It's been a bunch of fun. I've been playing a lot.
I saw it played.
Great little intro game. Real easy to carry and just bust out and play a little bit at the bar or something.
Yeah.
With some friends.
We played Forbidden Desert, which was my first time playing it.
Yes, I like that game.
It's a good game. I like it more than Forbidden Island.
Oh, it's a much better game for that. So I would say that Forbidden Island, once you having that, if you have Pandemic or Forbidden Desert, you don't need Forbidden Island anymore.
Yeah, and that's the game.
Sorry, Jeff.
Sorry.
Yeah,
So I've heard that basically Forbidden Island is like
my first Pandemic.
Exactly. It's good for introducing like children
it's
to
all
that.
Tim Leacock, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He did all Pandemic, Forbidden Desert, Forbidden Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fine game. It's just I want more from a game than that one can deliver.
Yeah.
Once you play it once, you're like, okay, I've played it.
Exactly.
It's a good game beyond something lighter than Catan.
Yes.
Catan.
Catan, remember?
Catan.
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 There you go.
I would expect cats.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know. That's why it's a disappointing game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That legendarily disappointing game, Settlers of Catan. But my big game I played, and big Gen Con game last year as well, Mysterium.
Ooh.
Yes.
Also known as Dixit, the ghost finding game.
Yeah.
It's definitely
the
more
gameier version of it.
Gameier version of Dixit.
Yeah.
Played Mysterium with a bunch of people that had not played it before.
Okay.
This was
you
outside
were the
game.
only one that had played it?
I was the only one that had played it before.
Okay.
They had played Dixit.
Okay.
So they sort of got the gist of it pretty quick.
Right.
But I sort of had to explain, like, I'm a ghost, and you all have your own path through who, where, and what killed me, because I'm a ghost and don't really remember it.
Yeah, you have foggy memories, and so
Yeah.
up to 6 different versions
Yes.
you remember.
And you can make it really hard by making it up to like 10, and only certain ones are correct, which is nice because that game comes with like 18 cards each.
I think the specific is a shitload.
Yeah. So you can really change up how the game plays. There's a ton of awesome art that if you've ever seen Dixit, it's all that crazy. What the fuck is going on this card?
Yeah.
Like, here's a dude with a sword next to a tower, and it's really bright out, but...
And the word was friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about both Dixit and Mysterium is just discussing after the game, like, what the hell did you mean when you gave me that? Like, how was this card relating to what the clue I was supposed to get? And they're like, oh, because of this. And you're like, well, shit, that actually makes sense.
Or when you're just like, I needed to throw a card away, so meh. There you go. I didn't have anything that made it, so you just get a card.
Yeah.
I like Mysterium because it does have a little bit more game to it than Dixit.
It does.
I also played Dixit for the first time right before we played Mysterium.
Which do you like better?
Mysterium.
All right.
Yeah. There's a lot more game to it.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that it's semi-co-op. Like, as you're kind of helping each other interpret your dreams.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're definitely trying to be the first, like, not necessarily the first one, but like the faster you can go and interpret things, like the better.
I mean, that's true. The times that I've played it, we've never really treated, because I know technically you can have just like one winner, I guess, but
yeah,
I don't know. I like to just play it as
well, the rules say pretty much like you all have to get to the end to even vote on what the real is.
And then at the end is where it sort of changes to where
but you need a majority vote.
Well, and I feel like because you have the one track where if you correctly identify incorrect and correct interpretations, you move up on that. I feel like that's a fun
clairvoyance.
The clairvoyance tracker.
Yes,
that's a solid way to just be like, play it fully co-op except for that and just be like, oh well, everybody won, but Adrian was the highest on the clairvoyance track, so he won better.
I guess.
So I've played it a couple times before the first time I played the Ghost.
Yeah.
And apparently no one has ever played this game correctly. Because you could, as the Ghost, can take your time giving out cards, but as soon as you give out that last card, you're supposed to start that 2-minute sand timer. A lot of people
Which I've
didn't
never
even know
even seen there was a sand timer in it.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I own that game and I didn't even know that there was one in there.
We didn't play with that because it was new people and I wanted to give them a chance to talk to each other about stuff.
Maybe that's the reason why people haven't done it before, because it seemed like whenever I played 4 people were learning.
Yeah. And a lot of time I've only played it like at bars and stuff for game night, and it's loud and there's other distractions, so a 2-minute time limit can be problematic.
Yes. So everyone kind of got the gist of it pretty quick. Also, the clairvoyance track, the more people that you correctly guess that they got it correct or incorrect, you go up. But you're also supposed to go up on that clairvoyance track as many turns that are left in the game if you get everything done.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
You can kind of get a boost at the end, or if you're first to the track, it's like, well, there's 5 turns left. I go up 5, and I've got a ton of clairvoyance, and I can see all 3 clues now.
That makes sense, because when I played and we were playing with we had full 7 people. 2 people got to see 2 cards. Everybody else only got to see 1.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, fuck.
Yep. And even getting that, 1 or 2 extra boosts on there will make a big difference.
No, it does.
But it was fun. It was the first time I'd played the Ghost, and I fucking rocked it with the cards I was giving them. Nice. Everyone was getting it on the first time, and a lot of times I only ever had to use 1 card. I don't think I ever gave someone more than 1 card. And the only time I ever went to 3 cards to 1 player, because they kept not picking the fucking razor blade, is because everyone talked them out of the card that I first gave them. Their first intuition was like, oh, it's this because there's the knight with the sword. And everyone was like, no, it's yellow and bright, and this one, the colors don't match. And in that game, it's like it could be literally anything about that card. And that's the best part about the design of that game. That art is fantastic.
It is.
I didn't look up if Dixit and Mysterium were done by similar people.
I feel like the styles are slightly different, but I haven't played Mysterium in a long time.
You can play Dixit with Mysterium cards.
Yes, absolutely.
I guess you could play Mysterium with Dixit cards.
Yeah. But that was the hardest part as the ghost, figuring out like, man, this card can mean anything. And are they looking at the color? Are they looking at whatever it was? There was a crazy church with a tome and a bunch of spikes.
Yeah.
And then I gave him the card. It was just these like blood red eyes and like guillotine, or not the guillotines, pendulum with the blades, whatever those are called.
Yeah.
Sure. I
know
don't know
you're
if they have an actual name.
Pendulum blades, let's call them that.
Pendulum blades.
There we go.
And they got it, boom, right there on
Yeah.
that one card. Fuck yes.
I feel like that's one of those games where it kind of goes both ways. Like as the ghost, you're trying to both look at a card and be like, all right, what clue do I see in this card? And then you need to be like, well, what clue are they going to see in this card? And then as the medium, you're sitting there like, okay, this ghost is giving me this clue. What do I see? But what do I think he's trying to tell me to see? And I think that's where like a lot of the confusion comes in.
Yeah.
Like, somebody will see it and they'll be like, oh, this means this. And they're like, but that seems too obvious. He's probably trying to tell me something deeper. And then they move on. You know, like you talked about you're one person getting talked out of the clue.
Obvious. What are you? And you have to be silent and not say anything.
Yep.
At the end, though, you can be like, "You are fucking stupid. Why did you do this?"
It's just like in Codenames.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
that's the exact thing I love the most about Codenames, that heart-wrenching moment when like you're like, I got a great clue. And you're like, tree 4. And they just go completely different direction than you were expecting.
Or you miss a word that you didn't.
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst.
It
Like,
is.
I had an amazing clue. It was spike and gold, and I did Transcontinental Railroad, and they didn't get gold.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, come on, gold and spike. It was the last one. Abraham Lincoln did it or something. I don't remember.
I thought it was Ulysses S. Grant.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
This is
I'm
not a history
I'm
podcast.
confusing the movie Wild Wild West.
I mean, I thought that was fact because that's where I got Ulysses S. Grant from.
Okay, maybe it was Grant in
then
that.
it might have been Grant.
Yeah, it was
I feel like
definitely
they
Civil
were
War. It was post-Civil
vaguely
War.
historical.
It was definitely post-Civil War. So
We don't want everyone to find out that we're shitty at history.
And I was worried when I gave that clue. It's like, how much are they going to know history to know
Yeah.
there was a golden spike?
I probably would have missed gold, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golden spike.
Fun.
But at the end, everyone got to the end of Mysterium and voted correctly because you only get a certain you get your hand of 7.
Yep.
And then you have to draw 3 clues that only point to one person. And by that time, I had known everyone's proclivities and guessing bullshit, so I just went pure color.
Yep.
And they nailed it.
And they can't talk while they're choosing too. So.
We didn't get that at first. They were able to talk for like a minute and a half, and I was flipping through the rules, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you guys all got to shut up."
Shut the fuck up.
That's how I said it,
Nice.
and I was real mean about it.
Yeah, that's good because
And
you're
it
a
kind
ghost.
and it really ruined the game. But that's where the best person in the game comes out to.
Yeah.
Like, the person that had the most clairvoyance is the guy that gets handed all the votes,
Yeah.
and they get to deal out all the votes and stuff like that. So that makes that person feel like more of a personal winner.
Gotcha, I
which is
guess.
cool.
I'm all about that personal winning.
Yeah, which you
Since
never
you-
have.
yeah,
I
you
mean,
never-
you got to get it
you-
wherever
so
you
few.
can.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep, that's our Adrian of the
Yep.
second.
Yeah.
And many more to come.
He tries to take him any time that he can since
Yep.
there's so few.
I cherish when I can get it.
And then we played another game at game night,
Uh-huh.
which was your favorite,
Okay.
which was Pandemic Cthulhu.
Reign of Cthulhu, yeah.
Reign of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
That was one of your Gen Con purchases, right?
That was one of my
His
Gen Con purchases.
Yeah.
Zach, you're doing a lot of talking about our games.
Yeah, well, I bought games too, but I also didn't have much money. So, and if you guys buy it, then I don't have to buy it. So,
Fair enough.
So it's like Pandemic, but with Cthulhu. Bam.
But very different.
Yeah, so-
it's not just like
I know.
eh.
Yeah, it's not just a retheming. So the first of all, the board is a lot smaller in terms of actual locations.
Yeah.
And because it just is the Arkham area, Innsmouth, Kingsport, 2 of the others. I don't remember their names.
Innsmouth, Dunwich,
Dunwich.
Arkham.
Arkham was the other one. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I played enough Arkham
yeah.
Board to
So
know those.
instead of 4 diseases, you just have the cults.
Yep.
They're cultists, and they're all just one color. And if you ever have to put them out and you can't, you lose.
which sucks.
Yeah, you also have instead of the outbreak track, you don't have outbreaks like you do in Pandemic. Instead,
Right.
you reveal another
Ancient one.
Yes, another ancient one.
An Ancient Awakens or something.
But it keeps track of it. But it also
Okay.
is the infection rate too,
Okay.
or whatever they call it.
How many cards you draw at the end of the turn?
Yeah, pretty much. And
Yeah.
if the 8th one is when Cthulhu gets revealed, you lose. Because Cthulhu, if Cthulhu comes, you're going to have a bad time, just
gonna be a bad
regardless.
So can you win when Cthulhu comes?
No.
So you just
That-
you lose.
that's like the game over on the outbreak track.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So one other difference is that the cards, like the player cards that you have, it's just the 4 colors. do you have?
Specific.
Yeah, it just says Arkham for green. And if you're both in an Arkham space, that's how you can trade and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But there are noted spaces like woods and all the different areas. If you've ever played Arkham Horror, it's all those same stuff, basically.
Yeah. And then there's also a when you have a intensify an outbreak or what I keep epidemic. There we go.
Yeah.
That's when a Shoggoth appears.
Evil stirs.
Yeah, it's evil stirs, and so a Shoggoth appears, and it's like it takes 3 actions to cure it, but there are cards when you're drawing out more cultists. There's it basically has an icon that the Shoggoth moves towards gates.
Okay.
And if it goes through a gate, you flip it's another outbreak that happens basically.
Okay.
So we lost both times. First time hard and fast.
The 6th turn.
Yes.
Oh, geez.
Person.
Yeah.
Was over.
It was. Basically, we were all on one side and all the infections and stuff
on the other side.
On the other side, and we hadn't realized we should have just gone through the gate.
Or the bus station.
Or the
that we were
bus
standing
station.
on.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
because there's weird, there's no research stations. Like the research stations, there's a gate in every color, and that's basically your research station because you have to go there to cure that color.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to go to that specific one.
Yeah. And then there's bus stations.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think of the game?
Like I said, it was different. But I feel like I really can't explain it unless I talk about every single
detail.
rule. No. So it was different. I would still play it. It just feels like it's pulling some of the stuff from the expansions of Pandemic.
Which I have never played.
Like the virulent strains are basically like the old ones, and other ones that maybe I don't know.
I think the most unique part of it that I played was all the ancient ones have bullshit.
Yep, that's
to them.
That is what the virulent strains did. So yes,
as someone that has never played the expansions, that was all new.
So
stuff.
I will say every time I found they had like relics, it's like, oh, those are just event. Like every single thing I was playing, and I'm like, oh, I'm just the medic. Like I couldn't. It was hard for me to look at it and not compare it to Pandemic.
Okay.
Just because there were a couple of unique roles.
Now, do you think that's because it was, it's Pandemic Cthulhu? Like if this was just, random Cthulhu adventure from random designer, would you still compare it heavily to
I think
Pandemic?
I think for that it would be, oh, this is like really like Pandemic. Whereas this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a Cthulhu one, but it's like when I was explaining it, it's like, oh, here's the hunter, but that's the medic. These are relics, but this is just an event. Like I would just use it. I would use Pandemic to help people. But it felt for me, it felt different enough.
Okay.
To actually be on its own.
Was there ever health in the
sanity?
Game? Yeah. Okay.
No. That was. I think any game with Cthulhu, there's like rule number 1. You have to be able to go insane in that game.
So every character had health.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is one unique way to lose in that game is if everyone goes insane.
Everyone has to go insane?
Yes.
So what happens if one person goes insane?
So they get less turns.
Okay.
And so one of the roles that he was the driver, he gets to move when he moves the drive/ferry. He can go up to 2 spaces if he wants. Whereas if he goes insane, he has to go 2 spaces.
Oh,
so you're just fucking pedal to the metal.
Yeah. And so if you need to go right here and you're 1 space away, you're like, fuck. How do I? Is there any way to me to backtrack to be able to go 2 spaces there?
No, you couldn't go. Well, I guess it'd be 1, 2 to go directly back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and every character has that where they have their one role and then they go insane and now their ability is a little changed.
Yeah. So the hunter, which is the medic, is just when you go insane, the first space you enter that has no cultist in it, you have to roll a die, and then if you hit the sanity, you have to add a cultist onto there. And so
interesting. Okay.
It's
the most unique thing that I think that added.
Yes, it definitely. If this was just an expansion to Pandemic, if they decided to be like, here's a Cthulhu expansion, I could see I would see it working basically the same way. But
interesting.
Overall I liked it. I would play it again.
Yeah. It's a fun game for people that like Pandemic a lot.
Yeah, if you
really like Cthulhu.
Yeah, I think if you had Pandemic, if you like so what is it? On the Dice Tower they just said if you like Pandemic and you like Cthulhu, fucking no brainer, go buy it. If you only like one, if you like one of them but hate the other, it's not going to change your mind.
Yeah, so I have no interest in this game.
Yeah.
that
It
pretty much
doesn't have
confirm-
zombies in it.
I don't
Yeah, it's
particularly care.
Yeah. Oh, if it was Pandemic Zombies, you'd be all over that. Don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
The look on your face is like, I
Don't
wanna
try and
yes.
say no.
No. That wasn't what. I absolutely would.
Yeah.
Love Pandemic Zombies.
You would at least try it.
'cause-
You would be like, I'm gonna get it and see it. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to try a Pandemic Zombies.
Uh huh.
That doesn't exist.
Nope.
No,
Not at all.
not at all.
Not at all.
All right. So we have talked about trying to bring current events into it. Now that we're current with our show, we're not releasing month-old episodes.
Yep. I mean, we can still do that. We got some that we can just
Sure.
release crappy ones.
Yeah, they'd be real bad.
Yep.
You guys probably don't want to hear that.
Release that hot garbage.
But, if you do, you could email Jeff at My High Game Guys and tell him how much you want our hot garbage.
Or I'm just going to keep emailing us and reading them off at the end of
I
every
hope you did
episode.
that. I thought about doing that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But-
I was just going to talk about how big a piece of shit Adrian was.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we just do that regularly on the
Yeah,
podcast.
I know.
anyways.
Exactly. That's what I was like. I can just.
Such great friends.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now that we're current, we are going to start trying to talk about more current things like board game industry news and
Yep.
Kickstarter stuff. So to start that off, Jeff, what's some news going on in the board game industry right now?
Something newish, I think today even, was Square Enix is getting into the board game business, the video game publisher.
Okay.
They are bringing over some Japanese Final Fantasy games.
Okay.
They're translating in English and releasing into North America.
Okay.
One is a Final Fantasy trading card game, collectible card game.
You had me at trading card game, and then you lost me at collectible card game.
There's literally no difference between the names, except one starts with a C and one starts with a T.
One of them's probably owned by Fantasy Flight, and nobody else can use it.
No.
I hate trading card TCGs, CCGs,
Yeah.
so I give no fucks about that. That's literally off the table at this point. But another one that's metaphorically, literally is, but I would have to buy it to like shove it into a garbage can.
Yeah.
The other one looks slightly more interesting. Chocobos Crystal Hunt.
Okay.
Which is a little light game, only about 10-20 minutes. You have a hand of crystals of all of the different colors. And then you steal them from each other, and there's a bunch of classic monsters in there. It looks interesting, especially if you really, really like Final Fantasy. I'm sure it'll be an interesting game. That all comes out, I think, October, November this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that seems interesting.
Yeah, I'm always looking for nice light filler games
Yeah.
that are, especially if they're reasonable play, then it's nice to have, since we run game night and we have a lot of people who are new to board games in general, if you can send them with something that's light but still interesting,
Yes.
that's good. So I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Especially if they love Final Fantasy. It's
Yeah.
like, I have the game for you.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll cautiously interested, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see what it looks like.
Yep.
My most interested news
Yeah.
was they had delayed Seafall today
They did
Yes.
until
until October,
I think
November.
I think it was like early to mid October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was port delays.
Yeah,
which
customs.
happens.
Yeah.
And by the time you hear this, they will have already closed pre-orders.
Yes.
Because
So
they announced when they delayed today, when they had delayed the game, they're like, also, we're shutting down pre-orders.
Yep.
So if you want those fancy coins, you better have read that already.
Yeah. You
Yep.
better go into the past to be
Yeah.
able to do it. So
Yeah.
You best invent
you're
a
going to
time
miss it by
machine.
about 8 hours.
Yes.
Because they're closing it at midnight, right?
Midnight Tuesday. So
Yep.
that very last second, 11:59 p.m.
On Tuesday. So
Tuesday.
Midnight on Wednesday. So yeah. So,
Yep.
8 to 10 hours before our episode
Yeah.
releases. Fantastic job,
sucks to be
guys.
you guys, I guess.
Way to go, Plaid Hat.
Yep. Yeah. Way to fuck us over in particular.
Because it does end by
Mm-hmm.
then, and because we here at the Mile High Game Guys desperately need a copy of Seafall to play,
Yep.
I'm going to be pre-ordering it tomorrow.
Ooh. Hooray. Yeah. Trust me, we totally didn't bring it up to you on the off chance that you had the
Yeah.
money to be able to get it.
As the only one on this podcast with funds right now, I will be buying it.
Yeah.
Those coins are super nice. Totally worth it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
I'm as one of the people that played that demo.
Yeah.
And they had the actual coins.
they
at
had
the
the
demo?
coins
They
there.
did. I felt them. They were
Oh,
nice.
they're super nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well worth it. And those are going to be like $30, $40?
Yeah, I think they originally said it was going to be 30, but now it says 40 because I was thinking about like, okay, I'm just gonna go on Cool Stuff and buy it and then get the coins. But then when I saw that, I was like, maybe pre-order it.
So those coins, are they specifically like Seafall brand? Like,
Yes.
what do they look like?
I mean, they have like 1, 5, and 10, and
Okay.
they look like olden money.
Okay, so
Ye oldie treasure.
Ye oldie treasure.
So basically, what I'm getting at
yeah.
is that in theory, since I'm going to be the one buying this game, that after we play through the campaign and we're done and we never played again, I can then take those nice, awesome metal coins and go throw them in some other game.
I mean,
I have pictures of them.
They look really
you
nice.
could.
That is
Yeah.
a fantastic.
But
You
then-
should
but
post
then-
that on the Twitter.
But then the
or
Seafall,
Twitter?
or
so
something.
the last game of Seafall is replayable.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I think we've talked about that.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying
I don't know how
you might wanna-
There's a difference between replayable and we will replay it.
says you.
Says me.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
But so yes, I will be pre-ordering that, and hopefully we'll be playing it in a few months. And
Probably
then
my
we will
most-
talk about it and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Probably the game that's coming out that I'm most excited about.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
one of my
Until-
most
until something-
anticipated games right now.
Yeah.
Crushes my hopes like No Man's Sky.
Yes.
I am so glad I did not pre-order that. I didn't have a computer that I felt could handle it, so I was like, I'm just gonna wait. And then now everybody's shitting on it. And I'm like,
I
Everyone's
still.
mediocring on it.
so
Yeah. I think so. One of our friends really likes it, but
well,
it provides sort of a Zen experience because it doesn't have a story, so it's just it's what you make out of it, basically.
because that's what he said. He said,
I just want to scream bullshit into the air.
well, no, 'cause even you, Jeff, wasn't it you that said like, imagine this vast and endless ocean,
Yep.
and it's 3 inches deep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
So
game
if
is-
you can really just zen out and just be cool to float on this
Yeah.
endless
exactly.
ocean.
This endless 3-inch deep ocean.
Yeah.
You might
And-
get a little out of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm curious to see how they progress with No Man's Sky as far as updates. I mean, Minecraft Alpha back in the day, there wasn't
Was-
a lot there.
$15.
Yep.
$10.
And
it first came
there's huge differences in the advertisement, the cost,
Yeah.
all of the. But if
can-
these guys stick with it and
Yeah.
continually update it and add things,
Fingers crossed.
maybe
I
it
can-
could. I like to stay positive.
I can see
could
that
turn
it would
into
be
something.
in a year. It'll be different.
You know, I just
So.
think, granted, so to compare more fair price points, Civ 5, when it first dropped, was hot, steamy garbage.
I don't
Is
know.
it just because you played a shitload of Civ 4 and its
Which had
expansions?
two
Exactly.
expansions.
And,
Yeah.
and so then going from Civ 4 with all the expansions to Civ 5 with no expansions, Civ 5 was super lacking. It felt incredibly
Yeah.
shallow.
No
Then they
religions.
went through and added Gods and Kings and the other major expansion that they had. I don't draw a blank on the name
Whatever
of
that
it.
was called.
But and then Civ 5 now that it's got all these expansions and add-ons and
Yeah.
additional content is a fantastic game.
So when Civ 6 comes out, that's going to be a hot, steamy pile.
You know, and I'm trying to keep telling myself that every time I see an ad for Civ 6, but I'm still so excited for Civ 6.
Yes, absolutely.
But
Day one.
We'll see.
these
Day
are
one
board
purchase.
games.
Yeah.
What else we got in board game news?
So Pandemic the Cure, aka
Yes, the
Pandemic
dice game.
So there's going to be an expansion for it that should release in October, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's called Experimental Meds.
Okay.
There really isn't. Yeah. There
I like it.
isn't really much this ain't other than like I've seen a couple of pictures and it looks like they have purple dice,
Mm-hmm.
which are probably like the purple disease in one of the expansion in the
That
on
would
the
make
Brink
sense.
expansion.
Yeah.
And then there also seems to be green dice that as you have more outbreaks, they get added to the pool, and it looks like they fuck with shit. So
Okay, interesting.
It's I like Pandemic the Cure. It feels different than Pandemic.
It definitely feels different. I agree
And
with that.
My favorite part about Pandemic the Cure was getting a demo from Matt Leacock
Yes.
himself at GenCon.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've told the story before.
It's still a good memory, Adrian. Don't,
Yeah.
don't shit all over
I'm
it.
not.
But that is
I
also
was going to say I think you've told it on the podcast, but I
I know.
can't remember.
That is-
So you should just go ahead and tell it again.
No.
that is my only experience with Pandemic the
Yep.
Cure because I don't think anyone bought it after.
I have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So yeah, it looks interesting. I will buy it because I'm an expansion whore. It's like
yeah.
I need to buy Mysterium Hidden Sign.
Yep.
When you can find it.
Yeah.
That acquisition disorder.
Yeah.
All right.
Do what I want.
Yep.
Jeff, you got a big list of news over there. What else we got?
That crazy Golgotha, the Gods of War,
Oh yeah. So Cthulhu Wars.
with
I'm
How
aware
many-
that it exists.
how many miniatures are in that game?
I don't know, but like the tallest one is like this tall.
Oh my gosh.
That plays well over
No.
radio.
Yeah.
That's also known as 12 inches tall.
Yeah. 10 and a half.
That was
maybe
that
something
was
like that.
more like 10. I work in a machine shop. I'm pretty good with my.
That is
Lengths.
massive.
Yeah.
If those,
It's
I've seen the box for the game.
Yeah.
I've never seen the miniatures for the game.
Anywhere, it's really expensive, but it's really huge minis. Plays similar to Chaos in the Old World. You
Okay.
played that, right, Adrian?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not like.
So then you probably, although that's actually made by Eric Lang, I think.
As
So,
well?
Yeah.
Sorry, Eric.
Okay.
Did not like Chaos in the Old Worlds.
That's fine.
Since we're personal friends and all.
Yeah.
I shook his hand. We're friends now.
Yeah. But this one is based off of Greek mythology and has gods and has a board. I didn't look.
A board.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa.
Crazy. Giant
Ooh.
minis.
Which is interesting.
And it's
because
also really expensive.
I literally just looked this up because I must have missed when we talked about this pre-show. So I wanted to look it up.
Yeah.
Pre-show.
And so
we
I
do
just-
this off the cuff.
No,
And
yeah,
so I
yeah.
typed in Golgotha.
Uh-huh.
And the first thing that comes up is that Golgotha was, according to the Gospels, a site immediately outside Jerusalem's walls where Jesus was crucified.
Ooh.
So I don't know how that relates to Greek mythology, but sure.
Probably a little before that. But yeah, it's going
Was that
through
just
on
announced?
Kickstarter.
Just launched on Kickstarter?
It's definitely funded.
Okay.
Because all of those games are funded because I don't know if you know this, gentlemen. People go ape shit over minis, especially
Dude,
giant minis.
Can't help it.
I know.
I'm
Yeah.
one
How
of
many
them.
giant tubs of zombies for Zombicide do you have?
He can only
Dose.
fill 1.5 tubs.
1.5
No,
tubs.
I mean
no,
two.
I mean you can only fill 1.5 bathtubs full of minis.
Hey,
Yeah,
just wait till you get the others.
I know.
okay?
It was supposed to be here on Saturday.
I looked at it at GenCon,
Yeah, I know. I looked at it too, and I'm like,
but it didn't have any of the Kickstarter stuff.
no, because of course not.
Of course not.
It's supposed to get here on
I'll
Wednesday.
talk about it more next week because we've already moved past what have we played.
Yeah.
But I did finally get to play Black Plague, and I played with Megan's brother Brian, who doesn't
all the-
play a lot of games.
with all the expansion
and
crazy
so,
stuff?
And so with the big rat storming out
how
out
was
of
it?
nowhere, it was rough because I didn't balance the deck. Everything just threw it in. We just played.
Just
And
like,
no,
here's
that deck
everything.
desperately needs balancing. By
Okay.
turn 3, we had 6 necromancers and 5 abominations.
That's
Ooh.
too many.
That's too many.
But
Yeah, we can keep that for.
yeah, we'll talk about this because there's a couple things I want to talk about more in depth about the
Yeah.
differences between Black Plague and regular Zombicide
Yes.
and all that. So that'll be next episode. So check for that next weekend or next week.
Speaking of Kickstarters,
Yes. Yeah.
like Golgotha,
Yes.
Which is where I got both of those.
I hit past Kickstarter, but one that I'm excited about from the Star Realms people that
Yep.
we all love. Hero Realms
that
just
you love.
I like it.
Yeah.
I do too.
love. Everyone must love. Hero Realms, they just put out a print and play version that I will be printing and playing soon, and I will
Awesome.
report on how that game turns out. It'll be my first print and play that I have ever done.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm excited.
Nice.
Yeah, it's I'm sure it'll be fun. So
I got hot.
Jeez.
I got hot tips on how to do print and play. I read up like, how do you really print and play? They're like, all right, get sleeves, get a regular deck of cards,
Yes.
and then put the printed thing with like a playing card back in the sleeve.
Yeah.
and then it plays more like an actual game. These are things that all of you people I
Zach's
think have
dying
done.
over here. I don't
He's
know
like,
why.
oh, fucking print and play. Ugh.
Zach, you recently backed a Kickstarter.
I did. It's called Unfair.
All right.
So this is a game about. See, I like games where you just run shit like networks. You're running a network. This one, you're running a theme park.
Oh.
And this one,
And it's
is,
called Unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah, the name doesn't. Well, unless you think like maybe like a fair.
So
Carnival, like a fair,
like
but-
that, but it's also because there's a lot of take that elements to it.
Yeah.
Because so basically you're building all these attractions,
Uh-huh.
and there's these events that come out, and you can use them to fuck with people. You can be like one of the Kickstarter exclusive cards for when they do a zombie theme. A zombie deck is one is zombie horde, and it's just basically you send a zombie horde at that person's theme park, so their capacity has to go down by 10 for the amount of people they can have in there because you just send a zombie horde over there to just sort of hang around.
Sort of take up
Yep.
space.
You can close down attractions and stuff like that. It's
kind of like Munchkin.
yeah,
Take
but
That.
it seems like an actual game.
Okay.
Sick burn.
Yeah, but I really like. See, for me, the first thing that's going to make me look at a Kickstarter, and in fact, you mentioned a couple Kickstarters that you told me about that I looked at, and I was immediately like, oh, I don't like the art. Boot,
Yep.
pass. So I think I really like how all this stuff looks. And what I especially like is that when you're building you'll have your base, say what is this? Just you have a water slide. You can add stuff to it, and it actually has this like ribbon that keeps going on it.
Oh,
So it looks like it's all connected and stuff like that.
that's cool.
Yeah, and there's different themes, and they do different things like pirates, robots, that sort of stuff.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, and you can hire staff.
Future
and-
world.
Yeah, and it seems It seems to go pretty. It's 8 rounds and stuff like that. I think it's supposed to be 45 to 60 minutes, maybe a bit longer, but
Seems
25
interesting.
minutes per player. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
So
Whatever
longer
that means.
than that, hour and a
Yeah.
half to 2 hours. Let's say with that. It looks interesting enough, and they're not doing a lot of Kickstarter exclusives, but they're doing teasers. The first one was the Ninja Pack that allows you to play with 5 people. That one they included, but it won't be exclusive.
Yeah.
But like for the zombie one or pirate one, maybe they're like, here's 2 cards of that. You can get those and you can see what they do.
Okay.
So it seems,
I mean,
seems
I
interesting.
like Kickstarter exclusives,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's like, well, after the game comes out and I missed out on the Kickstarter, I want all that
There-
Kickstarter stuff. So
There's
what's the point
there's
of
a
buying the game?
balance. There's a balance.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, this one looks interesting. So I'm backing it.
Well, there you go.
There we go. What about you?
So I'm not currently backing anything. I did just today receive the one Kickstarter I've been really waiting for, Pillars of Eternity, Lords of Eastern Reach.
I gasped when I saw it on the
yeah,
board.
yeah, I had it sitting here just on the table all awkwardly. I already posted it on the Twitter in case that's what you're going to do.
I want a picture of you guys or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
I want you going. Ugh.
It's from Zero Radius Games and Obsidian.
There you
It's
go.
a board game.
Perfect, Jeff.
It's a board game that was kickstarted based off of the PC game that was kickstarted,
Which I love.
by Obsidian. Yes, Pillars of Eternity is a fantastic PC game. But yeah, so Jeff and last year, like 2 weeks after I'd really met Jeff, it felt like it was longer than that, but
It was 2 months.
2 months after we'd met.
My first game night was in June, and we were on a 1,000-mile road trip together 2 months later.
yep, went out to GenCon and drug him along the vendor hall to be like, hey, dude, come play this board game with me,
Playing
because
this
they had the
game
demo
whether you like it or not.
at GenCon last year. Got to play it with one of the designers and
Got a card signed by the designer.
got a card signed by him, and he seemed like he was very awkward about the fact that I wanted him to sign the card. I was like, well, you're giving me this promo card, I might as well get it signed.
He was like,
Right
the other
here.
designer's off getting lunch, and you were like, fuck.
Yeah,
Could have had both of them.
I know. Oh well. But yeah, so I just got that today. I'm very excited about playing that. I'll probably
too.
talk about that next week.
I
Also,
liked it when we played it last year.
Yeah, it was a
and
bunch of fun.
I'm looking forward to it now.
So I'm not backing anything right now, but I've got 3 vaguely on my radar. I've got Fallen Land, a post-apocalyptic board game. This one's got 13 days to go, so by the time we air, it'll have a week and a half.
Yep.
It's met its goal, so it's funded. It's going to happen. It is a thematic board game set in post-apocalyptic America. It features sandbox-style gameplay, strategy, card building, and role-playing, which sounds like a lot. But the last game that I felt sounded like a lot was Cry Havoc, and it apparently lived up to the hotness. So
Yeah.
maybe this will too. I don't know. The artwork doesn't totally blow me away. The idea of the game sounds a little bit more my speed. We will have to see. I'm going to keep an eye on it. So check that one out.
Yeah.
Also, recently on my radar is Warco. It's an expandable card game. It
Is that just another word for living?
See, and I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't find anything on the Kickstarter about what he actually means by expandable card game. It's definitely not a living card game. Well, at least not the way they present it. Basically, it's got 6 decks of 50 cards each, and you play them against each other. And so you can play 2 to 6 players, each of you taking your own deck and playing against your opponents. And you win by being the last person with cards in your deck. So you can attack other people to make them discard cards.
Is it like a modern military game?
No, it's definitely all space themed.
Oh, okay.
So
But you're
it's-
Space War.
Yeah, so it's big
So
space
like
war.
War company.
Yeah, War
Okay.
CO dot. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
the abbreviation for company in my book.
As most people's books.
Yeah.
So the 6 decks that he has initially are the Bruiser deck, Conspirator, Guerrilla, Militant, Trickster, and Wildcard. And apparently they all play slightly different.
I would hope
like the
so.
Bruiser deck is really good at attacking your opponents and forcing them to discard, whereas the Trickster deck is about getting your opponents to try to attack you, but then being like, ha ha ha, I deflect that, and now you lose cards, or something along those lines.
Okay.
And you can mix and match all the decks to make your own, but you make a 50-card deck, and you play with each other, and attacks make your opponents discard. Cards that you play, you discard, and then every turn you have to discard at least one so that you're constantly bleeding. And
Okay.
basically, last person with cards in their deck wins. So, I don't know. Sounds kind of interesting, I
Yeah.
think.
I'm not sure if there's been a game that I've played that's exactly like that before.
Yeah, it sounds kind of unique. The artwork is fantastic. I do really like the artwork on his cards.
Which is the number one reason I even backed Scythe, because I love that guy's
dude,
art.
good artwork will go a long way towards getting me to
It
back your
will.
Kickstarter.
That's why I was immediately interested in the other Seven Sins, because it was Adrian Smith, the same
Yeah.
guy that did Blood Rage.
Yeah, he did a couple guest things for Zombicide that are some of my favorite Zombicide minis.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot they did like artist edition.
Yeah.
Zombicide.
So on Warco, the $25 pledge gets you 2 of the decks, and you get to choose which 2. And $60 gets you all 6 decks. So, and then the other one that I'm vaguely following that I'm most interested in is looks like a little fun light game, perfect for game night. It's called Island Hopper. It's a strategy dexterity game. And the basic premise of this game is you take turns around the table being pilots trying to deliver goods to these little islands. You got this rickety, shitty plane that you take turns piloting. And the dexterity component of it comes in that basically whoever's the pilot for the turn takes a little token that represents the goods that you're trying to go, and everybody who's not the pilot bids on the different islands that where they'd like him to drop it, and different islands want different goods. So he takes the little good token in his hand. You then close your eyes and randomly move your hand around the board until you find where you think you want to drop it, and then you drop it from a couple inches up. And if it stays entirely on the island, not touching the table at all, then you succeeded, and you get the money that people bid to have you deliver there, and anybody who had a contract at that island gets points or money or something.
Okay.
But each player has 3 direction tokens that they can play during that phase to allow them. They have to normally shut up. They can't tell the pilot anything while he's moving his hand blindly around the board. They can play one of these 3 tokens to say one word. So, I guess, if you think he's going for your island that you've bid on and you notice he's 6 inches to the right, you could be like, no, and then throw down another one and be like, right. And then, I don't know, use them somehow.
That sounds like a very interesting mechanic.
It seems like it'd be a fun, kind of simple little, Dex games tend to be pretty popular at game night, and it seems simple enough that I think it could be fun.
Yeah, as long as it's not too complicated.
Yeah. And it seems from what I've been watching on this one pretty simple.
Okay.
It's another one, like all 3 of these, it is already funded. It's got 14 days to go, so it'll be same thing, about a week and a half left once this episode airs.
Yeah.
And so check it out.
So I will say it looks like Warco. This is that guy's second attempt at putting it through Kickstarter.
Yes. So, which is something that does make me a little nervous, but he addresses that in this Kickstarter.
Okay. That's
so
good.
Says
not
that
trying to hide it.
He says he pulled it down early because he realized pretty much immediately, with the questions he was getting and the stuff, that he was not ready.
Okay, all right,
and
cool.
so that
Just
actually
wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and so the fact that he kind of did pull back from it, and he even said if you seem to remember this name from before, you're not crazy and you don't have deja vu. I did do this in the past. So the fact that he addressed it and is open about it, I think is good. He's not trying to hide it.
Okay.
He didn't rebrand the name and release it separately or something.
Which I've heard. I know at least one company did. I don't remember what it was, but a lot of people were giving shit for that.
Yep.
I mean, even Small World did
Yeah.
that for their app version. They had a Kickstarter and was like, your Kickstarter for your app is basically a Kickstarter for a deluxe edition of Small World.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So speaking of deluxe editions of Small World and apps and thing, do we want to talk about board game apps?
Yeah. Well,
I would love to talk about board game apps.
yeah, sure. I'm not sure what it has to do with the deluxe versions of Small World, but
Because you don't know the whole story around Small World 2.
it's true. I don't.
Tell us about the story behind Small World 2, Jeff.
So
That'll lead nicely into our
Days
segment.
of Wonder
Yeah.
had originally launched a Kickstarter to fund an app for Small World. It was specifically only for tablets
Okay.
because Small World, it's big. It's would be hard to play on a phone.
All right.
And then they had just a ton of rewards that were just basically, well, you can fund the app and it's $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you can put, $200 and you get a nice wooden boxed version of Small World 2.
I do remember seeing that. Yes.
And it'll have wood pieces and a nice wood box and fancy board and all this fancy stuff. Then you'll also get the app for the tablet. And everyone was like, what are you doing? Just why do you need Kickstarter? Your Days of Wonder.
Yeah.
Small World. That game didn't make a little amount of money. Just make your game. And so they took down the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And then kind of relaunched it in more of a direct we're doing this deluxe version and you can do the app, and it's sort of helping together. They were a little bit more clear about what was happening.
Okay.
There was a lot of really cool rewards. I didn't do the deluxe edition because $200.
Yeah.
But I did how they added a 6-player board, so now you can play Small World with 6 players.
Okay.
And then it was double-sided. One side was Underworld, one side was regular.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And then there was a encyclopedia version. It just had details about all the different races. It was just kind of like a fluff book.
Oh, okay.
Which was at GenCon this year and was on their like sold the fuck out board.
Right.
And I was kind of happy because I kickstarted and got it, and it's in my library, and it's
Nice.
super cool. It came with like one of the rare like the leaders expansion, which was a little rarer, and a couple other extra bonus stuff. And then you got the app.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a really good app.
Is it?
Yes.
I like playing on
I
the
actually do
tablet
really like
version.
the Small World app.
It's a lot faster than playing regular
Yeah.
Small World.
Maybe I would like it then.
Yeah, so
That was my favorite part.
Yes, it's way faster than Small World. And
So
Small
it's
World,
only 3 hours?
it's even less than that. In Small World, I play in less than 3 hours nowadays. If you ever find yourself up the ski condo in the winter, Small World gets played for some crazy reason just a lot at the ski condo in the winter. I don't know why, but it's popular up there. So Small World's app, which leads nicely into this segment we're going to have about board game apps. Small World's app was the first real true board game app that I got my brother to play because my brother likes board games and he always plays when we come around. But where he lives, none of his friends play board games. None of the rest of our family really plays. So he's kind of out. He's like dead in the water with board games, except for when he comes to visit me.
Right.
So I finally talked to him. I was like, dude, board game apps are like a thing. You got to get in on this.
Yeah,
Small World was one of the first ones he got. And now it seems like once a week I get texts from him about his new high score and how just thoroughly he thrashes the
Right.
AI on Small World.
It's definitely seemed like within the last 5 years or so
Yeah.
that they are just maybe even 3 or 4 that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
start all of these well-known ones have started because I remember Ticket to Ride being like one of the first ones. And
Catan was pretty early on that train too.
But yeah, there's definitely been an explosion recently.
Well, so it's been one of those things like I have never really owned Apple products except for like the Mac I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But that's always been something I've been jealous of is because for the longest time, board game apps were really only an iPhone,
That is
iPad
very true.
thing. I'm thrilled as an Android user that now it seems like they're really starting to come to Android too. You know, my tablet's starting to get full up with board games, and it's nice. You know, we went to GenCon and I sat in the back and played board games on my tablet
Yeah, I
for
did.
10 hours on the
I
way.
remember hearing you curse at the Star Realms campaign.
I hadn't played that since we got back from the trip. I
Yeah.
busted it out last night, and I got so mad I almost threw my tablet.
Nice.
I really, that's the only time I've still yet to play actual Star Realms, but I do really like the Star Realms app. It's a one that I think
It's less unfair, basically.
All deck building
it
games.
seems way more unfair.
No, it's
The app?
no, I know, but the regular one
Oh.
versus the campaign.
Oh yeah, so
The
I've only
campaign-
been
yeah.
playing the campaign.
Yes,
Because the AI gets like
Exactly.
they get a bonus card in their
yeah,
deck.
and they get extra health, or that yeah.
Yeah. So
All deck building apps are way better than
Yes.
regular versions.
I
there's
would
no card shuffling, no card counting, no keeping track like
damage or health or money or any of that stuff.
You know, like I think too. Again, one I've never actually played in real life, but Ascension
Oh, yeah.
Chronicles of Godslayer.
Yep.
Some of those games, I'll end up cycling 20 cards, 30 cards in a hand. I could not imagine doing that at a table.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
no, it would be so boring for everyone else. Like, all right, I play this card, now I get to draw 2 more. Oh, I
Yep.
play this one, I get to draw 3 more. Now I play this one, which
Yeah.
lets me play this, which lets
Yeah.
me do this.
And then you have to be like, okay, well, this is because I know I've gotten over 100 money and like 80 damage
Yeah.
on that before, and you're like, how would you make sure to keep track of that?
Yeah, so
That seems insane
Yeah.
for a deck builder.
so
Yeah.
deck builders, I think
It has a lot of expansions that helps with that, but yeah.
deck builders are a fantastic example of board games, tabletop games that make just easy, simple transitions
Oh, yeah.
over to the app side
Yes.
of things. And it's really nice, especially when some of them do online play so that you can still get the social side of gaming
Yeah.
while simplifying it down and having a CPU
Yeah.
basically process all the clunky stuff.
Yeah. Well, and then also because you don't have to worry about all that clunky stuff, they tend to go really fast. Like
Oh,
I could play a game of that in 10, 15 minutes.
Oh yeah,
if
easily.
not.
And you couldn't set it up in 10, 15
Exactly.
minutes hardly.
Yeah.
So another type of game that I really think translates well to apps
Uh-huh.
is cooperative games.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
I really like Pandemics. I don't like to play regular Pandemic.
Yeah.
I liked playing Pandepic when it was giant size, and especially because it had like a novelty twist on it.
Yeah.
But just sitting down at the table to play Pandemic
Yeah.
doesn't typically interest me personally. But I play the app all the time because I get to just control everybody and tell everyone what to do,
Yeah.
which is what I
Which-
like to do in life.
Yeah, that's very true. But I think also part of it is the presentation. So you get the actual you get noises and stuff when you're playing it, like when you have an outbreak or you have something that's getting close, it makes like an alarm noise. And it has this, like, as you get more epidemic cards, it starts, like, the music starts getting heavier and stuff like that.
Well, even just the way, like, you get 1, 2, and then when you get that third disease cube, it starts spinning and just looks like it's about to explode.
Also, is it actual,
you get the real visual
you
feedback.
get to see, And one thing that's nice, especially when you're a dispatcher, is you can click, when you move somebody, it'll tell you all the places you can move.
Yeah. Little things like that, like, that really help move turns along.
Yes.
And so it's another one. I can play Pandemic on my app way faster than I can play a regular game.
Yep.
And I get all the same feelings from playing the board game without having to feel like I'm a dick for being like, dude, you need to go here and do this now or we will lose.
Yeah.
I don't like telling another player that, like, and I don't like to lose, so I don't want to be like, oh, do what you want.
I think
Sure, cure that one disease cube when 2 spaces away there's an epidemic about to pop off. So that's one thing I do like about playing co-op games on an app, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
I also like using those, like Pandemic, to learn a game.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like Patchwork.
Yes.
I've gotten the app for that, and it turns that game into just like a basic, quick, I can finish this whole game in like 7 minutes.
Yes.
Dude,
exactly.
I and some of those, when they're cheap enough, like, you don't feel bad telling somebody like, okay, you want to learn Pandemic, or you want to learn Patchwork, or even Pandemic. Be like,
Galaxy Trucker.
drop the $5 on the app.
Yeah.
It'll teach you how to play, and then we can bust out the board game anytime you come over.
Yep.
And there's not that awkward, like, did I forget something? Oh, they need to port Agricola to Android.
Oh, it's not on there
It's
yet?
not on Android. God, that's infuriating. That is one of the ones I would want and play the most. Oh my gosh, I want.
My only problem with, like, Patchwork is that, and I've played it enough, and I'll play it against the hard AI. I still sort of know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, they're
you can always tell what the for that one especially, you can sort of tell what the optimal one is, and real people will usually do that, but sometimes they will be like, well, if I pick this, it means you can't get this one that's 4 away if I just get this one.
Yeah,
but the AI, you're like, okay, I know it's gonna take this one, so I can plan to take this one, and then I can take this one, so it can't get these, and then that's also how I always get fucking
and that is one
full boards on that game.
And that is one of the downsides in general of apps.
Yeah.
Especially because they're putting them out for relatively inexpensive, and they're
relatively.
So the AIs aren't usually the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I can't imagine getting thrashed by a real person as bad as I get thrashed at Star Wars Realms by the AI on the campaigns.
Yeah.
Destroys
But
you.
Yeah. Because I think for those, it's literally they know, to an extent, they know the optimum card to pick in each, like, because that's the only way you can really do it.
Exactly.
When you're programming is to be like, these all have set values, and it'll always choose, especially if you're choosing hard, it'll be like, fucking definitely getting this one.
But typically speaking, I feel like you can start to exploit the AIs.
Yes.
Like Catan's a great example. I can regularly do they give me 2, I give them 1 trades in Catan, the app. You almost never pull off a 2-to-1 trade when you're playing with real people.
Yep.
Because real people immediately go, no, there are so few situations where that is worth it for me.
I'll give you 2 sheep for a brick. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
No.
So, so that is one downside to doing the apps, is the AI isn't always as great.
Yeah. Although a little bit of levity is nice when you get it just wrecks you, and the app is just sitting, it's doing nothing. It's just like, fuck you. It doesn't even have to say fuck you. Yeah, it's just
that's the worst thing about Star Realms is
they
I'll have
do
like
their turn before they murder you.
I'll have like 32, whatever the health thing
authority.
is that is
authority.
I'll have like 30 authority, and like they'll just little card playing things, and then like
buy some
and then
stuff.
You've lost.
Which so I like that all the deck building ones have like fast animations or slow, but that makes that even funnier when it's just super fast. You just see them and go, okay, you're dead. Wait, what? What the fuck just happened?
It doesn't matter what I did. You're dead.
That's where I'm like, I want to see him. Like, how the hell in 6 turns did the AI get to where they're dropping 30 damage on me in Star Realms? I don't understand it, and it makes me so. Oh man, it makes me mad.
There was a mission in that campaign for Star Realms app where you're fighting the red dudes that I just played dozens and dozens of times because they destroy me.
Yep, they would
over
just
and
thin
over.
their deck so hard that they're always playing once.
That's one thing I've noticed. The times when I really get thrashed, I look and I have like an 18 card deck, and they have like a 12 card deck, and it's like, go to hell.
Yep.
So speaking of Star Realms and the fact that it has a campaign that we've all played well, what do you think? How much do you like apps that actually have something other than just the base game.
I really like that. Like, so apps are kind of interesting for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like, Catan was a good example. It's like I already spent a significant amount of money on Catan, especially because Megan and I own every expansion that Catan ever made.
Yeah.
She got most of them as gifts, but still, we own them all. Like, I've spent a lot of money on Catan. I have a lot of Catan there. Why would I spend an extra $6 to play it on an app when I can do it anyways? But the reason is because there's a lot of times when you can't break Catan out and you want to play Catan or some other game. And so what makes it even more worth that 4, 5, 6, and they're not usually much more than that.
Yeah.
They're usually right around that $5 mark, is when it adds something a little bit extra. Like Catan has a campaign, Star Realms has a campaign.
Yep.
Some games like the Ascension, it's just the card game. There's nothing else there.
Yeah, and you can do, like for that, it's usually for me, I always just do, it's 2-player against a hard AI. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
But Splendor, it doesn't have a campaign, but it has a shitload of challenges.
Which are a lot of fun and make you better at the game.
They do.
Really.
They do. Because they help you realize what are good cards, what are bad ones. Because all of those are usually get this amount of points in this many turns, and you're just like, oh god, this is so hard.
Yeah, and so that is something I definitely appreciate. I wouldn't say I look for it. Like typically, I don't research app.
Yeah.
But like if I see a board game app that I know is from an actual physical board game, if I have a little bit of extra money, I buy it. Or I'm on Android, so I have Google Opinion rewards.
Yeah.
I just fill out surveys all day long and get 10, 20, 30 cents. So every time I have $6 saved up on that app, I drop it. I jump over to Google Play.
Yeah.
What's a board game app I don't own? Oh, that one? Boom, I'll buy it.
Right, yeah.
Setup time on an app is way faster.
It is.
Everything about it is faster.
Yeah. Because, you're not going to want to play an hour and a half long game on your phone.
Or if it is going to be a long game like that, like Carcassone's another one. I've never played against just the AIs on my phone.
Yes,
I've played with other people, but then it's a pass and play kind of a thing. Like you make your turn, you hit submit, and then you put your phone away and you go do something else, and you get a notification when it's your turn again. In a game like Carcassonne, you don't need to play it back to back to back. Like you're not going to lose track of what's going on.
Patchwork has the same thing that I've done with. So
I think my first entry into like the app world was Xbox Live Arcade had a version of Carcassonne and Catan.
Technically, that Carcassonne was probably my first introduction to hobby board games. I played that so long ago before I really was into hobby board gaming and didn't realize that was an actual board game that existed.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a shitty little Xbox app.
I think that's another one that works well with tile laying games too, mainly because they can give you restrictions of you have this thing and it highlights what place
exactly.
You can play.
So you're not like, oh, I can't. Especially with somebody who's newer to the game,
exactly,
it just shows you here's where you can play it.
I played a lot of that Catan on Xbox.
I didn't play the Catan. I didn't know they had Catan on Xbox, but I played a lot of Carcassonne.
I wish they were backwards compatible it to Xbox One, and I would just play.
Because Carcassonne you can play Carcassonne on the Xbox One. Yeah.
Well, I gotta go.
I know what Jeff's doing tonight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are there any apps that you don't like that you've played?
So I'm pretty sure I talked about this in our intro episode. For 99 cents way back in the day, our board games, somebody posted, it's 99 cents. Get Hiroshima. And I did. And fuck that.
It's because you haven't played it before, right?
I've never played the actual Hiroshima Hex for one.
Yeah.
And for two, I never won. And it was never even I never even felt like I understood.
Yeah.
We talked about normally they're really good at explaining how to play the game. It's a good way to learn the game.
Yeah.
I feel like that one I need to play the actual game with real people to understand even what I'm trying to do.
No, that's understandable.
But it's one, and this is part of my problem with it. I don't feel like it did a great job. It explained to me what I can do. It never told me what I should do. It didn't explain clearly.
It give you strategies or something like that.
Yeah, it didn't clearly give me an idea of how to play the game. It told me, how to do it, what I can do, but not how to do it. I guess if that makes sense.
I feel like the Eclipse app too. For
Another
me,
one I don't have on Android.
That one, I feel like I had it, but then I got rid of it because I hadn't played Eclipse at that point, and I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing.
I think I did the exact same thing because I was like, I want to play Eclipse, but it's big, and I want to see what it's like, and this is a little too hard to play.
I love Eclipse, by the way.
I think that's also a game that would work better on a tablet, too, versus a phone.
Yes.
I have the Manhattan Project, which you have on your tablet, right?
Yes, and I have on my phone. I have it on both.
But the phone one, I tried. I've played it.
Very difficult.
It's you have to zoom in on a lot of stuff, and it just doesn't feel like a great version.
And that's a good thing to bring up there. I almost exclusively play them on my tablet.
Yeah.
Like my Google account's linked, so anything I have on my phone I can get on, and vice versa. I almost exclusively play on my tablet. You know, like there's a handful, like Patchwork plays fine on the phone.
Yeah.
Catan does okay on the phone, but mostly if I'm going to play them, I'm going to play them on the tablet, man.
Yeah. Well, I don't bring my tablet to work bathroom.
I don't get to play games when I'm at work. I play games here, where my tablet is conveniently right on the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
But no. So what about you, Zach? Any particular apps that you really love or dislike? You know, well, I'll throw that question back at you.
Let's see. I'm gonna bring up my phone real quick because
Jeff, do you have any that are ready to talk about that you like or dislike?
I mean, the ones that we already have talked about are the ones that I like.
Okay.
Coup just came out as an app.
I don't
and
think that
it's-
one will work well.
No,
and
that one's
it's-
too much about the person.
And it's free, and there's in-app purchases, and it's.
I feel like, especially a game like that that's kind of almost a social deduction game,
Yeah.
there's not a good way to play with an AI.
No.
Like, you can math it
Yeah.
out, but that takes all the fun out of Coup.
Yeah.
There is a website, I think, for Spyfall where you can all play on your phones, where it tells you where you are, but you're still playing with people. It basically takes those cards out of the mix.
So does it do
Jackbox-
audio?
No.
Then how do you ask the questions around?
No,
Just type
no,
a question?
no. We're in the same room.
But
You
you're just playing
literally,
the game on
you
an
all
app.
you all go into a lobby or something, and then it'll give you the cards, and
And
then
if you've played any of the Jackbox Party Pack games,
it's something like that. Yeah.
like Drawful, it's probably pretty similar.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. So
Never even heard of those. Until
that
just
that
now.
is
They're very
that's one where the game is helping you play as an
Okay.
app
Okay.
or web page without actually supplementing or whatever.
So
But
I
yeah,
will say one of the things
replacing,
that
there we go.
initially, and I'm way over this now, but initially that turned me off of board games as apps was the fact that when I started really getting into hobby gaming,
Yeah.
one of the things that I loved most about it and still love about it, it's the reason I hobby game. It's the social interaction.
Yeah.
It's hanging out with your friends, talking a little bit of trash, you know, and things like theme and mechanics and stuff make games more fun.
Yeah.
But the most fun I get out of a game is hanging out with my friends, or even not with friends, like at game night, meeting some new people and getting to know them over a board game.
Yes.
Getting to know like how they play games, how they think, what they think's funny, what they think's serious, stuff like that. And so initially when I started finding out that, you know, board games were really getting into apps, I was turned off by that because I was like, well, why would I ever play a board game app?
When
you
you're
know,
not-
when because you lose all the social component. Well, you know, we already discussed all the answers. It plays faster, it plays
Yes.
smoother.
And
there's
then-
tons of reasons.
And there'll be times when you can't play with people, like I said, in the bathroom.
Yeah. And so I've gotten over that, but one of the things that helped me kind of move past that, and not even really helped me move past it, but in a similar vein, last year, a little over a year ago, XCOM
Yes.
got announced, and it was a little bit of a hullabaloo when XCOM got announced because it had a companion app that was required. You
Yes, it did.
cannot play XCOM the board game without the app.
Yep.
And I was definitely at that time still kind of on the fence with that. Like I'd played a few
Yeah, you
on
were
my phone.
part of the crew that was just like, why can't you? You can do all of that with cards, so just do it with cards.
Yeah, well, and then I felt like I don't need any kind of incentive to be on an electronic device at the table.
Yeah.
Like that's already a problem in a lot of games I play.
Yeah.
You know, for myself even, not
People on
necessarily
their
other people,
phones
but
or stuff, yeah.
you know, I have a hard time staying off my phone. I really do. I'll
Yeah.
admit to it, you know, but it also drives me nuts when other people are on their phones and not paying attention. And so the idea of having to have an electronic there
Yes.
turned me off at first. I ended up
Then playing it.
I think I still just bought it.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
love XCOM so much. I was like, all right,
I
well,
gotta buy this bullshit.
oh shit, I'll find out the hard way.
Yeah.
I guess
And
they
then I
themed
loved it.
XCOM.
And,
It's a
and
great-
the
it's a great
app
game.
added a bunch. Like,
it did.
And
It added
Fuck doing
things
anything in that
that
And I
a
don't-
card couldn't do,
Yeah.
or if it could try, it would be really convoluted
fiddly and a
fiddly.
pain.
Yes.
Yep.
And the other thing I really loved is, you know, we were talking about that apps can teach you a game.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing about that is on any given turn, you can pause the timer because it's all timered on XCOM.
Yes.
You can pause the timer, and then the thing that you're doing, you can switch over to the manual and have it explain that, and it has like related topics.
Yes.
So if at any point you're not sure what to do, you can find it out
Yes.
there in app without having to dig out the rule book for XCOM is like a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
It's nothing
Yeah.
because it's all in the app, which I loved. And so that was one of the things that really helped me realize that electronics, as much as they sometimes can take away from games by people being distracted on their phones, they have a lot they can add to board gaming and even the social interaction side of
Yeah.
it, bringing people together. And that app, you know, it plays music and does sound effects, and it adds a lot to the ambiance of XCOM.
Ambiance.
Yeah, it's from Fantasy Flight, so I'm not surprised that they didn't do a great job on it.
Yeah.
Board game assist apps.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that kind of started that,
Yeah.
which has now turned into what Dead of Winter has one.
Dead of
Yes.
Winter has a companion card.
So there's some,
app
they're
Not required.
not required.
Yeah, and it's only for the Crossroads deck.
Yes.
Your
I've
event deck.
heard that it's not ideal because it doesn't support any of the promos, which almost everyone now has at least one Dead of Winter promo. And there's no promo support, and a few of the cards, they'll be like, if you complete this section, if you choose this crossroad option, keep this card and you get this bonus. They don't always have that in the app. So you
Yeah.
still have to then go dig through your deck and find that one card in that huge
card.
deck.
Yeah.
So it's not perfect from what I've heard.
And
Okay.
so there are some that are really
I haven't used
really slight in terms of their assistance. So Authority for Star Realms, or Magic ones that are just counters for you need to keep track of health. Use this app instead of using
A
tokens.
D20.
Or yes, exactly. And then there are ones that are a lot heavier,
Yeah.
like XCOM. And one of the ones you played recently, Mansions of Madness.
Yes. So Mansions of Madness is a great counterpoint to where I was just talking about XCOM, how much it helped and had the rules right there. That was one of my biggest problems with the Mansions of Madness app, is there were times we had questions about what things meant or how to do them, and we had to then set that aside, go pull out the rules, thumb through, and hope we found that rule. If they could have just hot linked the rules in there.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I think just I will say
we can
fantasy just in general, Fantasy Flight, their structure of learn to play and then the rules reference. If they didn't have that in there, I'm sure the app would have had something like that. But they chose to go with that one that they usually do with their heavier games.
Yeah,
and it can't there's been a lot of situations where you're playing a Rebellion, Eldritch Horror, and all that stuff. You're just like, well, what about this one specific thing? And you have to. It's a really convoluted route.
There's a lot of hunting involved.
Yes.
yeah. So I've heard also with Fantasy Flight that their Descent app was a huge hit.
Yes, the Road to Legend app.
Road to Legend?
Yes.
Okay. I've heard that was a huge hit.
And it turned it into a co-op instead of being one versus
which is
many.
what led to them
Yes.
doing that with Mansions of Madness.
Exactly.
Which we'll talk about Mansions of Madness, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still torn. I loved first edition with the Keeper. We'll see after a couple of playthroughs what I think of fully co-op Mansions of Madness.
And they'll be doing that with the Imperial Assault.
Which I will tell you right now, I have no interest in trying initially. I want to play it with somebody being the Imperial.
Somebody or you?
Me.
Yeah.
I mean, I really look, but it's one of those things. So the idea of DMing appeals to me.
Yeah.
And so games like that, where you essentially get to be a DM, you get to run the game and interact with your players, is nice. It saves me from a lot of I don't have time and I don't have experience fully DMing a pen and paper RPG. And so I'm not ready to take that leap.
Yes.
Whereas old Mansions of Madness, Imperial Assault, give me that.
Hero Quest.
Yep.
Hero Quest.
One of my loves of my youth.
So
I will just say that as someone who has no interest in running a DM campaign, or honestly, even doing those against other people, or against RPGs in specifically, I didn't notice a difference.
Fair
So
enough.
I think that's just going to be a case by case.
Yeah.
So because it just made it a lot less fiddly, which was like we said, a lot of apps do.
Heaven forbid that people have differing opinions.
I know.
I think that's the latest and greatest app thing, right?
It really
Mansions.
is. Mansions of Madness.
Yeah.
I think that it would have been great, and it's not even probably remotely feasible. This is me living in a la utopia world. If the app itself had an option where somebody could still be a keeper, but the app handled a lot of the setup, and so you as the keeper had the app in front of you and could be like, all right, well, these cards are available, this happens, and so it could handle a lot of the fiddliness.
It's like your
in
screen.
the app. Yeah,
But
you're still you ultimately get to make decisions about where does this monster move, instead of it being it moves 2 spaces to the nearest strong player or weak player or sane player or insane player.
So whoever makes that game, you owe us a lot of money.
Tons of it.
All right.
One last app before we close out here. You have a fantastic little app that does one of the simplest things in a board game.
Oh yeah,
choosing the starting player.
Yes. So all it does is
I don't know how to pronounce the name.
Chwezel or something like that.
Chawazi.
So all it does is it's a blank screen, and then you can put up to 6 fingers on there.
5. Well,
is it 5?
I think it's 5.
Well, you can put it on there, and then it just sort of rotates, and then someone gets chosen as first player. And then you can also use it for splitting up
Groups
and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's rude. But yeah, it's free. CHWAZI.
I'll link it in the show description. So
Yep.
check out the show description on milehighgameguys.com.
So if you ever if you ever play a game that has a stupid way to start a game or it just says randomly, it works perfect for that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
because there's like you can make a group of people, or how many, like if you need to choose 4 out of 5 people.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of really cool settings that
Yes.
I enjoy.
Yeah.
Yep. So apps, I guess in theory, we're all certainly fond of them.
yeah,
We've got a lot of them.
it's the future. So don't be old and crotchety and not.
I don't know if
like
it's
them.
the future
It's
in
the future.
general, but
Year 2000.
Yeah, in the distant year 2000.
But so, all right. Well, I think that's about all we've got for today.
No one sent in any emails.
No emails for Jeff to read.
Well,
You guys are, I don't want to say you're a disappointment, but Jeff is disappointed.
Yeah,
crushed.
He's not mad. He's just excited. Or he might be mad also. I don't know.
It's hard to
Mad
tell.
on the inside,
Yeah.
disappointed on the outside.
So to help Jeff be happy and the opposite of disappointed,
Appointed.
appointed,
Yep, that's it.
send us emails.
Yes.
You can reach us through the email at emails@milehighgameguys.com.
Emails.
At milehighgameguys.com.
Yep.
You can also just email Jeff directly at jeff@milehighgameguys.com.
You could specifically tell me to go fuck myself.
Yes.
You can also do that for the other two of us, Adrian and Zach.
Yep.
You can get a hold of the three of us on Twitter at MHGameGuys.
Yep.
I also have my own Twitter.
Jeff does have his own Twitter.
Jeff_MHGG
Yep.
is my own Twitter.
We also have Instagram
At Mile High Game Guys. And we are on Facebook, facebook.com/milehighgameguys.
Yeah.
So get a hold of us. Like, comment, subscribe. Give
We
us
have-
reviews on iTunes. I
we
don't
have no
think anybody
No,
has.
one person has.
Well, yeah, so we have one iTunes review.
Yeah.
So somebody else could give us
Ah.
an iTunes review.
Nice. We have no Google Plus.
We don't have Google Plus.
Fuck Google Plus.
That died.
It did.
I had high
Yeah.
hopes for Google Plus, and it did not pan
Oh,
out.
I on Facebook I even posted that shitty "I've moved to Google Plus" thing, and then
Oh, yeah, me too.
And I came like 6 months later. Not even that.
And now I'm still on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
All right. Well, we've been the Mile High Game Guys, and I've been Adrian,
I'm still Zach.
I am Jeff.
and we will see you all next week.
Yep. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.